I'm Cadence Debuse. This is Busybody Podcast, and today I'm speaking with Marina of Peridot Robes. She's an entrepreneur, a fashion designer, an activist, and a wonderful guest, and I hope to have her back. I think you'll really enjoy this conversation.
My name is Marina Hayes. I'm a fat liberation activist and a small, ethical, sustainable clothing brand owner. We are a luxury loungewear brand that goes up to size 40. And we've been around for almost exactly 3 years. Yesterday was our birthday. So, I don't have a lot of experience in the fashion industry, but I have a lot of experience in the fat industry. I've been fat my whole life, and so I kind of knew what clothing was doing wrong, and I kind of felt like, let's learn how to do it right. So I think the first year was basically like a big paid internship for myself. I paid other people to be the experts while I learned from them, and now I'm considered kind of an expert, which is wild, but I have done the work. So we are made in Los Angeles. We use ethically sourced remnant fabrics for the most part. And we are very happy to be doing that. I really enjoy this work. I say we, there is a team.
I was about to say, who's the we?
Yeah, me. Like every small business owner, you do a lot of things yourself, things I never even thought. I'm social media manager and I'm marketing and, I model for us, which I hate so much.
You really?
I hate it. Oh my gosh. Standing around just violent. I have a lot of chronic pain. I have rheumatoid arthritis. So standing around and looking comfortable is really hard. That is a really difficult thing for me.
Well, I'm extremely not photogenic, so anyone who no, it's not that. Once a camera is on me, I make really weird faces. Like I just like do a weird thing, I literally had like headshots done for me and my team, and like all of theirs looked amazing. I could tell the photographer was like, let's try a different thing. And I was just like, I'm so sorry. I don't know. Like I just like tense my
Yeah. I had a thing where I was looking too happy. You gotta take the joy that you're trying to express, take it down like 2 notches and make a normal human face so people know that you're a human.
You don't look like insane.
Oh my gosh. I looked so nuts. It was really fun. It was fun for me because I'm not like, I have to look perfect all the time, So I was like, I look unhinged. And there's 450 photos on the set and like 2 of them are remotely usable, which thank goodness the day of social media, you only need 2 pictures that are usable. Exactly. That's your catalog, you're done. So it's been a learning curve. But yes, I also have a production manager back in California. And we have one of our clients actually came on and helps us with shipping. She sent me a message one time and she was like, I just love your brand so much. I love your mission. I love what you're about. If you ever need any help, like I don't need a part-time job, but like if you ever need any help locally in LA, like let me know and I'd be happy to come on and help out. And I was like, you want to do all of our shipping for us forever? And she was like, I guess. I was like, cool. We pay her. We do pay her.
Yeah.
I actually gave her a raise like the first week she worked for us because she's so efficient. She's so organized.
That's amazing.
And I love it. I mean, it's a community effort. I think we've never paid for any advertising. We've never done any advertising in 3 years. And I felt like that was really important because we're a luxury brand, the price point is a little higher than, like fast fashion for sure. And because of that, random people being shown our brands are going to be like, why is a bathrobe $200? And they get really aggressive and kind of defensive about it. Like we're in charge of their budget, And so I thought it was kind of important to just kind of exist and have people find us and learn about us in kind of an organic way. And that would kind of lend itself to, them getting to know us instead of just us being thrown in their face randomly. And it's helped. It's helped a lot. We don't get trolled. We don't get confused people that are like, why is this on my page? Like we do well with it in that, people who find us through a trusted source, through a friend or family member or someone they're following. And, they get the heads up that like, hey, these people are really great. They do beautiful work and they can see us. So all of our promotion is done by people who purchased from us and who are happy with what they purchased.
That's amazing. So, I mean, this is a huge thing to start a small independent luxury label. The fashion industry is as cutthroat as like the restaurant world, kind of, just to put your time and energy into something. So where did this start? Like, how did you decide that you wanted to do this, especially since you said you didn't have a background in fashion?
I'm a fat person who couldn't find a bathrobe that was good enough for me. They either didn't fit me well, or they were made of a fabric that was really cheap and awful. Didn't make me feel comfortable, didn't make me feel beautiful. And I was really tired of it. And bathrobes was one of those things that I felt it was like a basic thing that everybody else seems to have, and why can't I have like a very basic thing? Kind of came from that. It was just annoyance, frustration, tired of feeling degraded by companies that I continually would like try to support and give them money. And according to their size chart, it should have fit me, but it wasn't a good fit. Like it just, I realized how much of my life I've spent fighting with my own clothing, like pulling up my bra strap the whole time and, adjusting myself and pulling out my zippers because every time I sit down, the zipper goes down. Like so many things about fitting for my body just wasn't being done correctly. And I spent a lot of mental energy kind of in the back of my head. Am I popping out of this? Is this aligned properly? Is this comfortable? And it's just a nonstop kind of anxiety in your day-to-day life, at the grocery store, on a date, or whatever you're doing, when your clothes don't fit you right. And I didn't have anything that fit me right. And it was kind of ridiculous. Like I had money, I had, friends, I had a good life. Why can't I have pants that fit, or a bathrobe?
That's I just read this book, Butts. What is it called? Butts, A History of, I don't know. I can't remember. It's up on my shelf. Heather Radke wrote it. It just came out like I think just 2 years ago, and it's really like it's a kind of deep dive into literally just kind of the history of our obsession with butts in general. But there's a lot in it about just how pants fit and how they're all based on a model that is basically like what I call the J. Crew people, just like a thin, leggy white woman, and that anything that's quote unquote like inclusively sized, like they just expand it, but that they don't change the proportions correctly, so that you can't just take something that was, you know better than I do, but you can't just like bigify something because the actual shaping will need to change, and you're about to say.
Yeah, well, grading properly is a huge issue. They take something that was built on a size 4 model and they try to size it up to a 16, which is ridiculous, and then a size 20, which is ridiculous. And by the time you get to be a 24, 26, it doesn't bear any resemblance to a human shape at that point.
Right.
If my waist is 3 times as large as this person's waist, my wrists are not 3 times as large.
Right.
That's not the way that human bodies hold weight.
Really great point.
That's not how anatomy works, but they act like it does. So you'll buy something and you'll have your sleeves that are hanging down to here. And I'm just like, what is this? Can we say
yes,
shit?
that makes so much sense.
And it's so frustrating. And it just makes you look unprepared and, and it's degrading on like a lot of levels. And I just don't like that. I'm a very liberated, entitled fat person. I want to be in every space. I think everything should be made for me. Every time I sit in a chair and it breaks, I'm like, hell yeah, one less shitty chair in the world. This is called evolution, people. We take out the weak ones and only the strong will survive. And eventually, if they break enough weak chairs, there'll be nothing but great chairs in the world, And it's like, I have that, just kind of in me. And I think the clothing thing kind of happened to me too in the same way. It was just like, there's no reason why I can't have this stuff. It is possible to fit my body's lifeline properly if you have someone who's an expert and you work on it. But that's the thing. It's like in the clothing industry, the smaller sizes should always have that investment to fit properly. If you had a size 8 that fit as badly as a size 26 in most brands, they wouldn't survive a day, and people would be outraged at how silly this fit is. And yet it's expected that the plus size consumers are supposed to settle for these crumbs. And it's infuriating. If I'm buying a piece of clothing and I'm investing in you, why don't you invest in me? And it's even worse now that I own a brand because I see how easy it is to treat people with respect. And so the fact that I haven't been treated with respect by the industry in general, I want blood. I'm so much angrier than I was before now that I see how easy it was, and all the novel lies that they told us about why they can't do plus sizes are so bad. They're just lazy. They just don't think we're worth it. And we are. We started off the day that we launched with no advertising. I have no expertise in this. I'm not a fashion icon. I'm not an influencer. I'm none of those things. And we started off May 20th or 21st, 2001 with 450 bathrobes. I figured if I sold half of them by September, we would do a winter collection. And we sold out in a day and a half. All 450. That's $85,000, by the way, in a day and a half.
Did you just faint?
Yeah. Do you know how I'll be honest. The day after we launched, I went to my friend B's pool and smoked so much weed. We got so high. And all the pictures of that day are all of us sitting around in bathrooms, smoking joints like cigars and looking like big rollers. We're like, we just take such capitalist pigs. It's fantastic. We're just
it's great.
What is the big money now? Because it was just such a shock. I was not expecting that in any way, shape, or form. And yet.
And how did that happen? Did you have an Instagram following before, or was it just word of mouth?
Word of mouth community? Yeah.
So you already were in a community where
I was friends with activists and I was an activist. And my activist friends were like, somebody's making plus size bathrobes, you guys. It's really happening. And they're made by a fat person. And everybody was like, I'll try that out. And everyone tried them out. And we got 0 returns out of 450 bathrobes. And you want to talk about sustainable, movement. The biggest a huge issue in the fashion industry is the fact that there's a 30% return rate with online sales across the industry, and even higher for plus sizes, because things don't fit us right and we send it back. We don't get that because we did it right.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want to talk about all the reasons that companies think we're not profitable. It all comes back to they didn't do the work right initially.
Can you speak more about that? What, now that you're in the industry and doing it, what steps did you take to do it right that are so easy that other companies could be doing?
Well, I fired fat people.
What a novel idea.
Yeah, that whole room was fat. The models were fat, the owner was fat, the girl who was sewing them was fat, the person who designed them was fat. Every single person was fat, and that made a huge difference because everybody has that trauma of knowing how things have done poorly for them, and was like, this is our chance to do it right. I didn't cut any corners. I had a pretty generous budget to start. I sold my house in Los Angeles so that I would have the seed money for this, and I was like, I'll live in an apartment for this new life. I don't care. I would rather this exist than have a house. And so that was a move. I'm a little nut.
For real.
For real. No, I hear you. I mean, I used to have 2 storefronts in Brooklyn, the hardest city to stay afloat. And I was just like, you, for whatever reason, you and I seem to be people who are willing to take financial risks. Not everyone is willing to do that.
Not everyone is. I don't have a lot of dependents. I have a cat who I don't like that much, and a dog who I love with my entire heart who would live underneath a freeway overpass with me. And so I just was kind of like, all my friends are kind of broke and struggling anyways. If I become broke and struggling, whatever. It's one path in life,
Yeah.
But there's the chance that this hit and it mattered and it resonates and it's a worthwhile thing to be doing with my life. And let's do it.
I mean, I think betting on yourself is such a powerful move, and it's something that I remind myself over and over again when I'm scared. It's like at the end of the day, I'm betting on myself, and I like me, so it seems
Yes,
like a good bet.
exactly. Exactly. I grew up with if you build it, they will come, which is a line from Field of Dreams. And that resonated so deeply with me, that I was just like, and so that was in my head a lot. And it did get like I know that when I was starting the brand, I was being led by a lot of different directions. But I stayed really true to myself. I argued hard with people who were trying to like lord over me with things like, you can't call yourself Peridot Robes. People will only think you make bathrobes forever. And I'm like, I don't care. I like, we'll do other things and they'll figure it out or not, whatever. I want to be Peridot Robes, And so stuff like that where I was like, definitely, I'm stubborn. I'm really stubborn. And I've always been like this in every aspect of my life. I'm just like, I'm going to do my thing,
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not
a long time ago, a mentor of mine said to be a small business owner, you have to have radical optimism. And I think about that a lot because you just hear, I mean, at every step, people are like, oh, well, that's going to be really hard. Oh, can't do that, all stuff. And you just have to continuously push back on that with this kind of stubborn tenacity of like, I see my vision. I think it's going to work. And,
Oh, I would call it straight up hate mail before we opened from one of my best friends at the time, who's no longer really like a profoundly best friend anymore. But she unsolicited wrote like a 6-paragraph letter to me at like 3 o'clock in the morning on Facebook about all the things I was doing wrong with this company I was making. And it was like, it's a dead end business. People don't want more than one bathrobe. Bathrobes are kind of old fashioned and unsexy and uncool. And Peridot robes just doesn't make any sense. You should call it pleasure wear and like all this stuff. And I was just like, this is so affirming that this person is so wrong.
right. That you triggered someone so strongly often it means you're in the right direction, actually.
Right. Because I disagree with every single point. Like she didn't make a single good point. It was all utter shit. And I was just like, okay, cool. Thanks. And I've barely spoken to her since then because it was just so oddly negative. And I was like, I don't expect you to have faith in me as a stranger, but as a friend, I would expect you not to rain on my parade, and tell me 2 weeks before I launch my entire life savings into the universe, all this stuff that I can't change at this point. And then also it's just weird. It's like bathrooms can be very sexy. I don't know what kind of sex you're having, but like
under the bathrobe, you're naked. What else do you need?
Exactly. I've had since then banged in so many of our bathrobes. Like so many. And that was part of our testing process before we launched was me banging in the bathroom because it was COVID times and we didn't have anything else to do. And so, yeah, I was like,
is there a reel about this? I hope you have a reel about how they're disturbing.
I'm so bad at making content. I really am. And there should be, but yeah, I haven't done that yet. But the peach robe was part of our initial collection, and it's kind of like a high fen, Vava Boom, mysterious widow robe. It had like a train in the back. It was like very deep V in the front and flared hips and had a princess seam in the back that like curves to your ass like really beautifully.
Nice.
And the day I got that sample in the mail from Los Angeles, I was in New York at the time. I was living in Brooklyn and Manhattan. And I took it out of the box. I put it on. I swished in front of my partner. And we spent the next like 13 hours on each other in that robe. And the worst thing was that I then had to do fitting in that robe. And you're not allowed to wash them because still washing can change the fabric and can change the measurement. So I had to, and my production manager at the time was my ex-girlfriend. So I had to, mistakes were made, okay? I banged in the road for 13 hours. I then had to package it back up and send it back to LA. And she was like, did you bang in this road? And I was like, what? Yes, I had thought in a robe. I like maybe dropped some soup on it or something, but like banging? No, I don't think there was any banging. And she was like, it smells like it's been rolled around in for hours and sweated in. And I was like, that's wild. Just put it in the wash. She's like, you're disgusting.
That's an amazing. Please put that somewhere on your social media.
It's so great. Well, it's out. I'm not gonna wonder what it smells like when I bang.
I mean, it smells like sex. We all know what that smells like.
She knew what it smelled like because we had had sex.
Exactly.
So yeah, she knew exactly what it was. But yeah, you got to start somewhere.
I don't know where to go from there. Do you design them all yourself? And wait, you don't sell just bathrobes.
No, we do loungewear as well now. We branched out some fun. We have pants, we have shirts, we have dresses, we have like big ass bags is what they're called, or like these tote bags that have extra long arm straps to fit on extra large arms. They're fantastic. It's basically almost like an IKEA bag inside. But it's made of remnant materials and like much higher grade, and they're incredible. I do not leave my house without my big ass bag ever. You can fit like 4 bags of groceries in each bag, and they're super strong. So we're counting more of those coming out this summer as well. But yeah, we do a little bit of everything now. We do underpants. We haven't done bras yet because it's such a technical item that, as a small business, we just don't have the resources to do that like the way I would need it to be done properly. But I am putting high amounts of pressure on a bra company that I have targeted to make bras for us.
That'd be awesome.
Like, they're so close to being in our size. They're so close. And I'm just like, add a couple more inches on that band size, you would be the only bra company in the game. Like, you would shut it down. Like, there's nobody else making bras. And big people had boobs. Like, and we want them sitting in a proper way on our chest. Like, why are you not doing this? It's a few inches of fabric. It's an untapped market. You'd be the only people selling to them. And they're just like, oh, I'll take that into consideration. Have a nice day. And I'm like, I hate the fire. But like, I think they're shocked by then.
That's such a huge issue just for women in general. I mean, the advent of making bras and then making bras that women actually want to wear, not cone bras, like not, and then in the fitness industry, literally the development of sports bras, which just like no one was conceiving of. And
Super Fit Hero.
Yeah.
Super Fit Hero does great bras for larger people in the sports world.
I mean, the freedom that anybody is given by having properly fitting clothes is so important. So yeah, I mean, people are fools not to jump into making bras for large bodies because, like, hello.
It's a basic thing, and I don't know why. It's like I said, it's very frustrating. It's more frustrating now, and I've been on these people for 4 years.
That's ridiculous.
And I message them every couple of months. And they're the ones for me though, because I'm so close to fitting in their stuff. It's very well made. It's comfortable. It's, cool colors. They're ethically made. Like, they're so close to it. And they just won't take that little leap to give us a few more inches of fabric to give dignity to an entire huge community of people.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Where did you find all your remnant stuff? Like, how did you make the brand sustainable? That seems very challenging.
No, well, in Los Angeles, there's a great company called Rod Finders. They've been around from, I believe, the 60s or the 70s. They were started by this old hippie dude who was like, LA is a big fashion hub. There's all this extra fabric from the manufacturing that happens here. all this fabric is going into landfill, and let's buy up this fabric and give it a second chance at life. And they still exist today. It's still in the same family. The older guy, Ruben, has passed away since then, but I believe it's his nephew is in charge of the business now. And they're fantastic local business. They take up a huge city block in downtown Los Angeles. And it is 4 giant warehouses full of remnant fabrics. So basically anything you want, you can get there. This fabric that I'm wearing right here is from there, and they've got silks, they've got denims, they got canvas, they got, everything you could possibly want. Their prices used to be better. I feel like they've almost doubled their prices since we started Peridot. But everything has doubled in price since we started Peridot. The last 3 years have been brutal. But yeah, so that kind of makes it easier. Our process is basically I will have an idea for a piece of clothing. I will have an idea for what kind of fabric I want for that piece, depending on what it is. If it's like a terry towel, or if it's a, stretchy jersey, something lightweight for the summer, something super cozy for the winter. And then I'll send one of our assistants in to the fabric places in downtown LA with a cell phone on the camera phone, pointed towards the fabrics, and I'll be like, touch the orange thing. Is it soft? Okay, cool. And she'll cut off a swatch of it and mail it to me here in Chicago, and then I'll approve it or disapprove it. We'll go buy a bolt of it and make a sample, and if it works, we go to production.
Amazing. So where's your company based?
We're based in Los Angeles. I live in Chicago.
That's amazing.
I lived in LA when we first started, and I lived in New York / LA when we started. I had been living in New York throughout COVID. I kind of went there for a visit. I had a long-term partner who lived in New York, and I went for a visit like 4 weeks before COVID hit, and then COVID was hitting, and I was like, should we see what it's like to quarantine together for what could it be? Like, what, a week or 2,
Oh my God, we were all doing that.
I was just like, I mean, I could go back to LA and we could go back to video chatting and being long distance, or we could just like see what happens if we really hole up together. And that was the next 15 months of my life.
God.
Yeah, it was weird. I was away from my dog. I was away from everything. I had one person, my bubble was very small and not doing well mentally. Like I said, we were banging a lot in bathrooms. So yeah, it was a lot of time. And then I loaded up because I had a whole life in New York. I had signed a lease, I had an apartment, I bought furniture, I got a dog while I was over there. And then when it came time for me to come back to LA and launch Peridot, that I'd been doing all this work for, I packed up everything in an RV that I rented and drove the RV from New York to Los Angeles. And I've launched 1 week later.
Whoa, that's very intense.
I don't identify with that person anymore. I have no idea who she was. She sounds crazy.
And then at what point did you feel like it was okay to kind of leave the company in one spot and move to Chicago?
I came to Chicago for a photo shoot for Peridot. I shot with Karina and Skinny Shiro, and I met Amy from Amy Meets Joy, who came and kind of did like behind the scenes photography and video work. And I just kind of stayed in the city for a week and a half and just explored. I'd been to Chicago before, but I'd never been to Chicago. I stayed outside the city. I came to the city for dinner one night, and I was like, Chicago, whatever, but that week and a half visit, I really fell deeply in love with the city. Wow. And I realized the 15 months that I was away from Los Angeles during COVID, I missed my dog. I missed my friends. I didn't miss LA, like at all. Tacos. I miss tacos. Like, sorry, New York. You have birria yet, and that's about it. But there's no other Mexican food there. That's bullshit. So yeah, I realized maybe it might be time for me to like pursue living in a city that I was really passionate about. Chicago was that for me. And so yeah, I basically was just like, let's shut it down here for me personally. I'll move to Chicago. We'll try to do this remotely, which we had done when we were developing Peridot anyways, when it was all being done in LA and I was in New York. And it's worked out perfectly. I'm so happy here in Chicago. I desperately love it here. The cost of living is very inexpensive. But yeah, no, I really enjoy, I think it kind of like, to me, it's just like a relationship, like it's like being with your childhood sweetheart, living in the town that you grew up in. You're comfortable with it. You know everybody there. You always imagine you'd be there forever. Like you never imagined nothing life for yourself. And then you meet someone who sets you on fire. And you're just like, wow, could it be like this? Could I have this passion? Could I explore a whole new direction? And I know nothing about this place. And it does something to you on the inside. It really stimulates me mentally to explore a new space, to have new customs, gaining a new accent, and eating hot dogs as like a regular meal. They're so good. They're so good. Every time I leave the house, I'm like, should we stop for a hot dog? The answer is yes. They're incredible.
Well, the last thing I want to ask about your brand is it's exclusively non-straight sizes, correct?
Yes, we started size 14 and 16.
Yeah. So what I think that's super cool. It's like, it's an elite brand, basically.
No, I've had to call it size exclusive instead of size inclusive. And it happens all the time with their clients. And for me, smaller people are like, gosh, I love that piece. Would you ever consider making smaller sizes? And I get to tell people, no, it's just for us. And my clients this has happened to almost every single one of them. Is someone has been like, I love that on you. Where is it from? And they're like, you don't need to know about it, And it's a great feeling because we're so left out of so many things. To have a thing that's just for us is really wonderful.
That's so powerful. I do really appreciate that. I think so much of, I don't know, we're in a funny moment of like inclusion kind of meaning like somehow like everyone is supposed to be there, but actually inclusion, the best moments I've experienced is really more about representation. So like being in like a female only space or like whatever your demographic is, and then being like, oh, I get to really be myself in a different way here, or interacting with this product, or, whatever it is. And that is so much more powerful than somehow trying to make something fit every single person's experience, which is impossible. And then we end up just like in this very watered down, like sort of faux touchy feely thing.
I agree. For something like this, it takes a lot of technical knowledge, a lot of passion. I don't have passion for smaller sizes. I don't know about that experience. They have the world, at their fingertips. And I don't know why I should be spending my fat life trying to cater to smaller people. They're not really relevant to my experience. And they don't think about me that often. I mean, we have allies, of course, and I appreciate them. And, they're wonderful. We have people who follow our brand who buy us for all the fat people in their life, because how often do you get to buy your fat friend something luxurious that's just for them? And, and that's wonderful to help them be like that. But God, it feels so good to tell people it's not for them. It feels really good. I guess I'm a little bit of a bitch like that, but like, it just feels great to just be like,
I hear that. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's a good feeling.
And also like exclusion and elitism. I mean, that sells. That's like people want to be on the thing that other people can't get. That's amazing,
Yes. I do tell people we sell tote bags.
There you go.
But they would hate them because they're super long straps that don't make sense for smaller arms. They'd be hanging on the floor.
The last thing I want to ask you is, what should people look for who are trying to buy for bigger bodies? Whether it's your brand or someone else's branding, just like, what is a way to avoid falling into the thing where the item is now this humongous giant item that's not really for a human body anymore? Like how does someone know what to look for?
check their social media, make sure they have fat models. If you don't see it on the main page, that brand probably doesn't care about their fat clients very much. You can check them in the tagged photos tab as well and see clients and what they're doing. But like listen to fat people, see who the fat people are buying. See who the problem is a lot of our community is influencers right now, and influencers will find a way to make bad brands look okay on themselves. I've seen it now that I'm kind of an expert on fashion. I see the way that they strategically shoot things to not show how poorly it fits them because it's a paycheck for them. That's a big reason why we don't work with influencers at all. We work with activists. I want people who are there for the betterment of the community. And we give things to activists all the time because they don't get free stuff from brands. I don't need them to make content for me. I don't need them to take pictures of it. I just want them to know that I appreciate what they're doing for people like me and, to teach us how to advocate for ourselves, to be accepted into spaces. And
I actually found you through the woman, now I'm forgetting her name, who's the mechanic who wrote a book.
Oh, Kyle. Yeah, I love Kyle. I just saw her book signing in Milwaukee like a week and a half ago.
Oh, you're a lucky duck. I wish I could go to one.
Oh, she's so cool.
I just love that she's doing that. Like, I mean, side note,
She's also a friend of mine. Like she come, her and her wife come and like hang out with me here and stuff like that. And she's just a really she's a really assertive person. She's a really ambitious person. I hang out with her and I'm just like, I get so energized by her. She's got so many ideas. Like people are like, so what do you see in your future? I'm like, I want an airline. I want Peridot airline for fat people. Like I need to go from the start. I'm just like, I want to grab the Subaru. I want to make a fat car. I want to do a fat cruise ship. I want to do I want all these things. And Kaya's like that too. It's not just like, I wish we could have bras. It's like, I want the freaking world. We need people like that. We've been waiting long enough for people to build the world for us, and now we're building it for ourselves.
Incredible. I mean, I fully agree. Along with the like build it and they will come, my motto always was, shoot for the stars and see where you land. And, or we were always like, go big or go home, kind of like, you just have to kind of be like, we're going to do this. I'm going to, whatever, like in my mind, I'm going to have an empire and whatever that turns into 2 storefronts, but 2 fucking storefronts in Brooklyn, New York is like a real big deal,
That's a huge deal. That's a huge deal, especially Brooklyn prices.
Exactly.
My friend owns Plus Brooklyn, and she's signing a lease on a new place. And, we're kind of talking about specifics on it because I'm Jewish. I always want to know the numbers. And
same.
and like, so how much did you make? Like, that's rude. That's a cultural thing, And so we were going over the numbers, and I was just like,
yeah.
So you're just signing that for the next 10 years? Like,
the 10 years, that's terrifying.
How do you sleep at night? But you know what? Do it. I mean, people fail every day, but also people succeed every day. And also people never pursue their dreams every day. So what category do you want to be in?
Exactly.
Well, I think that's a wonderful place to end. This is such a lovely conversation. I won't say that I wish I could have your clothes because I can't.
Well, if you want to gain a lot of weight, we're here for you. I mean, I'm with that rainbow.
Postmenopausal, all the women in my family
put on quite a bit, so I will reach back out.
Perfect. We'll be here for you. I want older women in our stuff. We don't. I'm dying to have a beautiful, fat, gray-haired model for Peridot.
And the word.
Oh my gosh, I keep slipping my business card to every fat, gray-haired lady I see, and I'm like, I can make you a star, baby. I can put you on the internet. They never call me. They never contact me. I've handed out 40 business cards to women. I'm just like, I own a fat bathrobe company. We'll give you cash in clothing if you come model for us. They're like,
can you do a casting call though? I mean, you have a big following. You should do a fat casting call.
Yeah, We'll definitely do that. The problem is so much of our turnaround times are so tight. It's hard to like plan real fashion shoots the way we used to. Our business models kind of changed a little bit. We're doing a pre-sale model now as opposed to like having inventory. Just because, you know, you gotta evolve to stay sharp. And so we don't have samples enough ahead of time to be able to do like a really thought out shoot. But I'm gearing up for it. We got some cool stuff happening this summer, some beautiful caftans and beach bags that match. And I'm just like, let's do like a real shoot, not like Wednesday morning for an hour and a half in a studio in Ravenswood. Right. Like go somewhere, have a crew, you know, and like really do this. I miss it. I wanna get back to that. I look at the shoot that we did when we were first starting out and I was like I said, I don't identify with that person anymore. I'm so tired now.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. So tell us if there's what's to look out for coming up for you.
Well, we're working on a summer collection right now. We also have a spa robe. Finally, finding a bamboo or cotton terry in remnants has been hellacious. You can never find more than like 100 yards of it. It's usually pretty beat up. Natural fibers don't handle warehouses very well long term and don't get moved very well, especially in bright white or cream colors that you would want for a spa robe. They look filthy and they look junky. And so finding that in remnants has been really hard. We finally found this gorgeous double loop bamboo terry, and it's expensive. It's 3.5 times as expensive as any fabric we've ever bought, which is terrifying. It's kind of like finding a 10-year lease in Brooklyn. The piece, it's like, oh my God, this is what I'm doing with my life. I'm going to be in debt forever. But we're doing it. And so we have the spa robes coming. We have our summer collection, which are going to be super colorful caftans and beach bags. We have a resort wear collection that's coming that's going to be separate. Kind of crop tops, maxi skirts, shorts, that are all kind of interchangeable fabrics. That's all remnants. Yeah, just, you know, it's a little bit more of the same and also things that are new and different.
That sounds fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. This is such a delight.
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me. It's so much fun. And I did look you up, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's like, this is not some Jillian Michael stuff, right? And we're going to show up to a panel of like super fit people that are like, what's up, fatty? You know, like, okay, they seem cool. Their size inclusive. They're I'm ready for that, though. If Jillian wants to call me, I'll go one-on-one.
Oh my God.
Tell me when that happens. I would love to watch that.
Oh my gosh. Let's go, Jillian.
I think you have the stamina for sure.
For sure, yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for what you're putting out there in the world. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.